front row on the right.
Tim Mailer Monroe, CJ, on that last drive, it was just do whatever it takes, right? I mean, you took off running several times there in the fourth quarter. Just what were you thinking there near the end of that drive and stuff? Obviously, to try to set up the field goal.
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amazing just to be out there in that atmosphere and just have the opportunity to play with my brothers again. And yeah, I mean, I'll just try to leave it all on the line. I don't really, honestly, games like this, I mean, you're lost for words and they come down to one play, but honestly, it doesn't come down to one play. So many things that line up to those plays. But that last drive, man, I seen how much time we had with timeouts, and I knew that we could do it, and I tried my hardest to get us down there. I mean, I got to maybe split somebody else, make another move, try to just get a little more. But, I mean, I tried my hardest. I think I left my heart out on that field. And, of course, I mean, it's something that is heavy on the heart, and it's going to be tough. But, I mean, I don't want to go out there with anybody else. I love my teammates so much that we put everything on the line, and I would never want to do it with anybody else. So.
Hey, Ryan, real quick, Marvin Harrison Jr., was he ruled out protocol-wise? I mean, concussion protocol, couldn't go back.
Yep.
And then a lot of people are going to be asking about that first down call after CJ got down to the 31-yard line. I think it was a run to Hayden. What were y'all thinking there? What did you think could
two timeouts left, adding to the field goal. If we didn't have two timeouts left, and you know they were going zero, so if you split one, you could come out the back end there. Two timeouts left. You know, any couple yards right there can add to the field goal, and that was the idea. Didn't quite execute it as well as we would like to, but I wouldn't change that call.
It's a good call, great call.
So Ohio State has the disappointment of another loss here. Since they won that initial title in 2014, they fell in the second. It took a lot. But not only did they pull off the biggest fourth quarter comeback by any team in a playoff, it's their largest fourth quarter comeback in any game in nearly 20 years. We go all the way back to 2004. Dogs 0-29 down 2 touchdowns in the final quarter over that span. On the losing ends, the defenses of Michigan and Ohio State, who helped them play so well throughout, but Michigan allows a season high in points. Ohio State allows 40 in each of their final 2 games for the second consecutive year. All right, if you're interested in the number, and you know, these are things that we pay a little bit of attention to around here. Caesars Sportsbook has the Dogs laying 13, which is the largest spread in any playoff or BCS national championship game. If you're interested in the money line, a little nibble for the Horned Frogs, that would be plus 430. Your over-under is 63 flat. Reese Davis, man, we love this sport, don't we? And I'd say, I just said to Herbie and Chris, I think college football deserved a day this good. How would you frame what we watched between TCU and Michigan and then what we just enjoyed between Ohio State and Georgia?
Well, first off, Scott, I think in the 9-year history of the playoff, clearly this was the best semifinal day by a long shot. And this Georgia-Ohio State game, I would say, was only eclipsed by the double overtime Georgia-Oklahoma game in 2017. So I think it's the second best semifinal game ever, one of the greatest postseason games ever, no matter what, because you're splitting hairs. And look, it was just a remarkable performance. Stetson Bennett didn't play his best game for a long time, and then stepped up and made the plays at the end, driving his team for the win. And then Max Duggan, the way he continually answered when Michigan kept knocking at the door, I think it showed a lot about, we had caught up in recruits and 5-stars and big-time guys and how they're going to be in the pros. And you got Stetson Bennett and Max Duggan, who just sort of grinded and gritted their way to a tremendous career, and they'll be meeting for a national championship.
Georgia's performance in the fourth quarter against Bama in the title game a year ago, I remember Nick just smiling. He shook Kirby's hand and said he kicked our ass in the fourth. And once again, those final 15 minutes, there's a reason everybody holds those 4s up. I would ask you the same thing I asked Chris. What did Georgia demonstrate over the course of those last 15 minutes to erase a 14-point lead against an Ohio State team that brought its best tonight?
daring, bravado, and pure guts. And when I'm talking about that, there were a couple throws. One, Ohio State had a defensive back slip on the long touchdown to Arian Smith. But there was a throw on the final drive, too. That's the play, the long touchdown.
Right.
But there was also a play on the final drive that he fit into Brock Bowers to move the chains and kind of get them in position, get the drive going.
Yep.
That just showed you got to be brave. And that's what Georgia is. Georgia is not afraid of the moment. And it looked like they were in trouble, looked like they were down, if not out. And they stepped up and made the plays that champions make for sure. And Scott, when I was up on the trophy stand giving away the championship trophy for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Stetson Bennett, before we started, was saying to his teammates, not we won, not great jobs, we get to prepare for another week. He was selling them on, hey, we get to prepare for another week. Yeah, he loves this, and it's one of the great stories in the history of the sport, I think.
And since it just happened, I'm interested in your thoughts as well on Ohio State and Michigan. These are two storied rivals. We know that each left the game they played in Columbus feeling very differently. And though each fell short, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to sell them on, hey, you should feel good about it, because obviously they're bitterly disappointed. But I think you can honor yourself in defeat, and I think both teams did. What's your thought on that?
Exactly the same. Ohio State had to answer that they wouldn't wilt, and they didn't. They just didn't win. There's a difference. Sometimes you play a great game and it doesn't go your way. And that's what happened with Ohio State. I think Michigan is going to be a little bit more disappointed, not because TCU wasn't tremendous, but Michigan made a lot of catastrophic and uncharacteristic mistakes that put them in a bad position. Now, to their credit, they continue to fight back, and to TCU's greater credit, they made the winning plays. But I think Michigan's going to be kicking itself a little bit more. Ohio State's going to be probably just a little more frustrated, disappointed that it just didn't go their way. They played great.
Yeah, Michigan's going to have a hard time trying to figure out how do we get to the 2 and get nothing, get to the 1 and get nothing, and give away 14 on 2. Self-fulfilling, doesn't it?
When they lost 7 in a row to Bama, Scott, in those 7 losses, 4 times Georgia had a lead in the fourth quarter. So to get over that hump, to outplay Bama in the fourth quarter in Indy, you're right. That's when they can say, okay, it's the DNA of our program because we got the results to back it up, and now it really is their identity.
You know, everywhere we travel with College Game Day, it could be anywhere. We could be at North Dakota State. There's always a "We Want Bama" chant. Well, we've kind of kidded this year that I think they might need to consider changing that chant to "We Want Georgia." Now, it's a little premature. They just won a semifinal game. But if they climb that mountain again next Monday, then they are. They're that team that has earned the right to be not just with Alabama. I think they'll be a program that a lot of people will look at as they're the new bar in the sport with Kirby Smart.
Back-to-back's tough. Bama did it once. You know, the great USC teams did it, and the Nebraska teams in the mid-'90s, but it's so rarely been done.
And the era is so different now. And I do want to at least get an opportunity to tip our cap to Ohio State before I bid you guys good night. Because, look, this is a program that's far beyond platitudes of, hey, way to battle, right? This is a championship program.
Yeah.
They want to win championships there. But I think the way that they left the field after they lost at home to Michigan and that taste that they had to eat for a month and change, you saw that tonight. You saw a proud effort. You saw a championship-level effort, and they come up ultimately a kick short. I just wonder, Herbie, how would you frame what Ohio State demonstrated in the 60 minutes of football they played?
Yeah, you just touched on it. I mean, 35 days of scrutiny. Every time they did an interview down here in Atlanta, it's why should you be here? Can you win against Georgia? And they got very defensive, and I think they got very frustrated. Showed up as an angry football team tonight. And I just tipped my cap. My dad was a captain at Ohio State. I was a captain at Ohio State. And I walk out of here, of course, it's about Georgia advancing. Could not be any more prouder of Ryan Day, C.J. Stroud, and Ohio State, and the way they played it and the way they laid it on the line tonight. That's all you can ask for. You're going to win some of those games. You're going to lose some of those games. But when you play the way they did tonight, to me, you walk out of here disappointed, but not the way you felt, obviously, when they lost to Michigan.
Beautifully put. It makes me proud. I got nothing to do with either school, but just be proud to be a part of the sport. When you see TCU's performance against Michigan, that wild one, and the Horned Frogs, zero people gave them a chance. Not even the Horned Frogs would dare to dream about this.
And they'll do it again next Monday. Yeah. No one's going to give them a chance again.
They won't.
And they're a tough out. They are a tough out.